Hi, Bruins. I'm here with Miss Malloy today, and we have a special edition of Ask the Principal. So sorry it took me so long. We're taping this on Tuesday, and we had no water yesterday, so I had priorities. Anyway, I wanted to get you answers to all the questions that you had that I didn't really get a chance to answer. There are really a lot of good questions, and so I've asked Miss Malloy to join me today because I like the conversation back and forth versus me just reading to you. So if you have any questions, you follow up with these. You can ask a teacher, ask one of the assistant principals, come see me. I'd be happy to clarify anything you need. So, Ms. Malloy, what do you have for me today?
You ready?
I'm ready.
All right, so our first question today comes from a frustrated junior. He asked, why can't we charge our Chromebooks in school?
Sorry that you're frustrated, Junior. So we've given this thought in the past, Ms. Malloy. We've talked about it, like try to figure out, can we have charging stations and who manages the charging stations? And I'm not saying that's not a possibility. We just haven't really, it hasn't been that much of a priority for us to put attention to. I know there's another question in there too about loaners. Can you read that one?
Yeah, so this question asks, why do you only get 3 times to get a loaner Chromebook without repercussions? 3 doesn't seem to make sense.
Yeah, I don't know what number does make sense though, right? I mean, at what point do you say, hey, that's enough? I mean, we're a college prep school, we're a high-level school, right? I'm pretty sure most of you in the morning wake up and our phones are charged. We have to make a priority out of certain things. And if we know we need our Chromebooks, right? Offering 3 loaners, I think, is actually pretty generous because we still have to be responsible. So when you go off to college, I mean, you're going to need to have your charged laptop, right? If you don't, you're going to be using paper and pen, and maybe that's what you prefer. So maybe not the answer you wanted to hear, but you know, Mr. Orr has a lot of work to do up at the help desk, and just handing out computers every day, I don't think is a very reasonable kind of way to do things. Thanks for the question, though.
Hey, pro tip, if you're charging your phone every night, you just plug in your Chromebook at the same time, grab them both on your way out the door, and you're ready for school.
Pro tip, I like that.
Pro tip. Speaking of Chromebooks, for someone whose Chromebook keeps restarting in the middle of class, why did we change to Blackbaud, and why must our Chromebooks now restart every single day?
That is a good question. So we did not change to Blackbaud. We have had Blackbaud for a long time. I actually talked to Mr. Orr about this, for those of you that know Mr. Orr at the help desk. And what he told me was our students were not powering down and turning on their computers every day. And that's a necessary step for our Chromebooks to continue to function effectively. Updates and all the different things. Because we couldn't get our students to do that as a normal habit, which was necessary, we have to force that shutdown to make sure, because without those things, we have a lot of loaners to fix Chromebook issues, and those count as one, right? So I think it was a reasonable choice to have Mr. Orr kind of force that shutdown, so you have to log off, have to log in, and we make sure that your Chromebooks get the necessary updates to be effective tools.
So we could shut down right before we plug in our Chromebook at night.
Tip 2.
You're all welcome. One more technology-based question.
This is why I keep you around, Miss Malloy.
One more tech question.
Yes.
Do you guys know I have a song? That's my song. Why can't we have our phones during lunch or study halls? From a Curious Junior.
Yeah, Curious Junior. It's a good question. I will tell you personally, and this is the fight I keep, because I keep getting asked this all the time, you know, can we have our phones? You're on your phones enough. You're distracted enough. My personal issue with this is I think we need to spend more time being social. And time on the phone outside of an emergency during the school day takes away from that social aspect. If we're getting on our phone, all we're doing is texting or surfing, you know, social media or Snapchat or doing some kind of thing. So I like to be in control of when we do those things. We usually do it with the Bruin app, right? Mrs. Simna gets people hyped up with you at a rally or at one of our assemblies. I think we need to spend more time being social, less time on our phones, myself included.
I love that.
Thank you, I appreciate you.
Healthy break from our phone.
Yes, ma'am.
Next question. Can you opt out of Mass if you are not Christian?
So good question. The answer is no, right? So this is, you don't have to participate, but you do have to be present, right? And it's, I will tell you, it is the same reverence and respect that I give to all religions, right? But we would ask you to find a reverent way, right, to spend your time, whether in meditation or prayer. But no, we don't have a system where you opt out, right? It's kind of a whole package deal. But certainly, you don't need to sing, you don't need to pray, or you should not receive communion, those kinds of things. Good question, though.
That was a good question.
Thanks.
So these next 2 questions are linked. Is there ever going to be an honors band or choir class for upperclassmen, and why isn't that an option right now?
So I don't have an answer to that, which is why it's a stellar question, because I think every question I don't know the answer to is the right question. Yeah, listen, let me talk with Mrs. Plaster and Fine Arts and Mr. Waz, and you know, I don't know if maybe it's an enrollment issue, maybe it's, I don't know if you realize we have like either 29 or 30 fine arts electives.
Wow.
Yeah,
that's a lot.
schools Padua size don't have 30 fine arts electives, but Padua does, right? So just finding a way to have another one it takes way more time to explain than I can explain right now. But I'm telling you, I will talk to Mrs. P about it. I think it's a great question.
Yeah, curious student in fine arts, thank you very much for asking. All right, next question. How are parking spots chosen? What determines the spots? And how come we can't choose? From a curious senior.
Oh boy, so you get 300 student drivers and you want everybody to pick their spot. I want that one. Listen, I trust Mr. D and Mrs. Toothman to take care of the parking. I used to take care of the parking myself. I just don't think it's reasonable to ask students to choose their own spots in our parking lot. So what we try and do is make reasonable decisions, give seniors first access because they're seniors, right? And then, you know, people that buy earliest, and we kind of go, you know, the girls' locker room's here, the boys' locker room's here, the seniors are here, the juniors are there, and we just do our best with it. If you have a major issue, see Mr. Jajitsky.
Awesome.
Yep.
So that'll be a good follow-up for you, curious senior in the
Curious
GO.
senior.
All right, so we've got one more question for today, one question for us to end on from a sophomore.
Sure.
Why doesn't Padua take time to talk about Suicide Prevention Month?
Yeah, I can't. That's a great question. Thank you. Who was that from?
A sophomore.
Thank you, a sophomore, and anybody that thinks that. So here's what I talked to counseling about, and counseling has put this together, and you students are going to receive this in an email, all right? And so it has a little note about September being National Suicide Prevention Awareness Month with some links. And the one thing I will tell you, right, is this line at the bottom: when in doubt, talk to a trusted adult, right? And if you don't know who that trusted adult is, ask me, ask Miss Malloy, ask any of us teachers, and we'll point you in the right direction. One of the things I hope we do moving forward is have a little mental health awareness moment, maybe once a week on the BBN. Please know we love you, we care about you every day, right? But during this Suicide Prevention Month, and this is actually, I believe, Suicide Prevention Week, so a really good time to get this word out. If you're concerned about somebody, if you're concerned about yourself, come talk to one of us. Go see a counselor. There's a number of links that will be in this Gmail that our wonderful new counselor, Miss Casey Blum, put together for us.
Oh, way to go, Miss Blum.
Way to go, Miss Blum. Good?
Good. Those are our
Anything else
questions
we got to say? Closing thought for the day.
Our closing thought for today: charge your Chromebook when you charge your phone, and you'll have an electric day.
Play loud.